Okay, next we have Monica.
I'm going to read a few poems from Italo Calvino, his book Invisible Cities. Thin Cities 5. If you choose to believe me, good. Now I will tell how Octavia, the spiderweb city, is made. There is a precipice between two steep mountains. The city is over the void, bound to the two crests with ropes and chains and catwalks. You walk on the little wooden ties, careful not to set your foot in the open spaces, or you cling to the hempen strands. Below, there is nothing for hundreds and hundreds of feet. A few clouds glide past. Farther down, you can glimpse the chasm's bed. This is the foundation of the city, a net which serves as passage and as support. All the rest, instead of rising up, is hung below. Rope ladders, hammocks, houses made like sacks, clothes hangers, terraces like gondolas, skins of water, gas jets, spits, baskets on strings, dumbwaiters, showers, trapezes and rings for children's games, cable cars, chandeliers, pots with trailing plants. Suspended over the abyss, the life of Octavia's inhabitants is less uncertain than in other cities. They know the net will only last so long. Cities and Eyes 3. After a 7 days' march through woodland, the traveler directed towards Bacchus cannot see the city, and yet he has arrived. The slender stilts that rise from the ground at a great distance from one another are lost above the clouds support the city. You climb them with ladders. On the ground, the inhabitants rarely show themselves, having already everything they need up there. They prefer not to come down. Nothing of the city touches the earth except those long flamingo legs on which it rests, and, when the days are sunny, a pierced, angular shadow that falls on the foliage. There are 3 hypotheses about the inhabitants of Bacchus: that they hate the earth, that they respect it so much they avoid all contact, that they love it that they love it as it was before they existed, and with spyglasses and telescopes aimed downward, they never tire of examining it, leaf by leaf, stone by stone, ant by ant, contemplating with fascination their own absence. Cities in the Sky 5. Andria was built so artfully that its every street follows a planet's orbit, and the buildings and the places of community life repeat the order of the constellations and the positions of the most luminous stars: Antares, Alpheratz, Capricorn, and Cepheids. The city's calendar is so regulated that jobs and offices and ceremonies are arranged in a map corresponding to the firmament on that date, and thus the days on Earth and the nights in the sky reflect each other. Though it is painstakingly regimented, the city's life flows calmly like the motion of the celestial bodies, and it acquires the inevitability of phenomena not subject to human caprice. In praising Andria's citizens for their productivity industry and their spiritual ease, I was led to say, I can well understand how you, feeling yourselves part of an unchanging heaven, cogs in a meticulous clockwork, take care not to make the slightest change in your city and your habits. Andria is the only city I know where it is best to remain motionless in time. They looked at one another dumbfounded. But why? Who ever said such a thing? And they led me to visit a suspended street recently opened over a bamboo grove, a shadow theater under construction in the place of the municipal kennels, now moved to the pavilions of the former lazaretto, abolished when the last plague victims were cured, and, just inaugurated, a river port, a statue of Thales, a toboggan slide. And these innovations did not disturb your city's astral rhythm? I asked. Our city and the sky correspond so perfectly, they answered, that any change in Andria involves some novelty among the stars. The astronomers, after each change takes place in Andria, peer into their telescopes and report a nova's explosion, or a remote point in the firmament's change of color from orange to yellow, the expansion of a nebula, the bending of a spiral of the Milky Way. Each change implies a sequence of other changes, in Andria as among the stars. The city and the sky never remain the same. As for the character of Andrea's inhabitants, two virtues are worth mentioning: self-confidence and prudence. Convinced that every innovation in the cities influences the sky's pattern, before taking any decision, they calculate the risks and advantages for themselves and for the city and for all worlds.
And next we have Katie.
This is just a little love poem about two things that I quit. And it's called Cigar Man. My cigar man, you always smoke too fast. The sound like a match catching. Your lips on the filter leave spit, a kiss. The smoke in your hair is a tobacco halo, sticking to the sweat my fingers left there. You light me up, generous cigar man, with those hands that I'm in love with. Callous thumb twitches the lighter, then works on my skin hotly, cherried. Playful cigar man. You try to convince the lighter you're not addicted. Dropping ash in the grass, I explore with my toe. Puff, with that taste on my lips and in my hair. Of you, my cigar man. I always smoke you too fast, and I'm left with that taste.
Next up we have Michael Oren with a question and answer.
Hi students, my name is Mike Oren. A little bit over 5 years ago, I decided to walk for peace from Southern California to New York City. San Bernardino was the starting point to try to bring our troops home from Iraq. In 5 years, I've walked over 1,000 miles per year with just a backpack on my back. I didn't start with a backpack until I got to Flagstaff. I got my first backpack, full-size backpack. Along the way, I met great Americans, active duty military personnel, veterans, foreigners that have donated to the cause to bring our troops home from Iraq and Afghanistan. I've attended many peace vigils, rallies, and protests about the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. I just would like to give an opportunity to each and every one of you to ask me a question about the journey I've been on for the past 5 years. I'm currently staying at the UFC building if anyone would like to come over